So while I've been over in the USA, I've been able to mull and think a lot of things over, and been thinking through a lot of things in my life and putting plans together to really get things going a little bit more. So as I've been staying here at this beautiful cabin, beautiful lake house, and sorting a few things out. Sorry, I'm just a little bit heat exhausted from the heat. It's been good here. Got a good tan as well. So I wanted to pretty much put together a few questions, and this is going to go political. So people say, oh well, what can we do? We can't do anything, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do the other. This is something that I intend to start doing when I get home for the next election, and I wanted to share this, and this can be done wherever there are elections. Go and do it. I think it's about time we put the government back in the place and told them that they are to serve our interests. So, before I go on with this, I'm going to explain a few things and sort of explain that this is about taking action positively and about pretty much turning around and saying, you know what, you need to be answerable to us. So, with the first thing is insist to interview the MP that is all the MPs that are coming around wanting your vote. Insist on that interview. Turn around and say, I want to interview you on why you want our votes. And make an appointment. Say, I want to make an appointment with you in whatever week's time it is to interview you, or you can even do it now, to interview you and get straight answers from you about the subjects at hand. That's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing, once you've made that appointment, don't leave without an appointment. Badger them for an appointment. Say, I have the right to come and interview you. Alright? Get that clear. You have the right to see your MP at any time and ask them questions. You have that right. They should be accessible to you. So insist on making the interview at your convenience, and you say, this, we will have the interview here and now, and this is the time. You can be a little flexible, but don't let them dictate to you fully. Make sure you go in there holding the time and date that's acceptable to you. Number 2, what you're going to do then is you're going to go to all your neighbours and friends within your constituency. Go up and down the street and say, I have a meeting with the local MP. I am putting questions to them, and I want to get your questions. Get them to write down a couple of questions. Write them out. If you get any sort of duplicate questions, you can say, well, I've already got that question, but thank you. But can you put your name and address beside that question? Okay? Get everybody, because not everybody's going to be able to see it, and the MP is not going to be able to see everybody, but they will be able to see one person and realise that they are answering questions from the public. Okay? Take responsibility for your street, your family, your friends. When you do that, print off the questions and take them with you, and say each question is from these people, and you can have a copy of the questions and they can have a copy of the questions so they can look through. But most importantly, you get the answers from them. Write them down, record it. Again, take the power and the authority. If they refuse to be recorded and refuse to answer the questions, then you can say, well, in that case, I'm going to let everybody know that you have refused that. And in fact, say, before you even go in, before we start, this is being recorded for my safety, for your safety, and also the information for all those people who have answered these questions, and get them to either recognize that they are going to be recorded. If they don't, If they refuse to, then you can turn around and say, well, it just goes to prove that you don't actually mean what they say. Call them out. Turn around and say, if you've got nothing to hide, you don't have anything to hide from being recorded. Get the power. When you start asking the questions, there are some questions that need to be explained, but if you ask a yes or no question, if you want a specific answer and they start rambling, oh well, and I'll give you a few instances. So they will start with an open-ended explanation such as, we are looking into, and of course it's a great concern and we understand that people are concerned. Don't let them do that. Try to get yes or no answers. Do you think it's right? Can you explain this? Or do you think? Maybe try and avoid the do you think, because it can lead in, but ask them, can you do this? As in, one woman said, can you live on the wage and on the minimum wage that the people are expected to live on? Can you live on those benefits? If they say, oh well, just say yes or no. Say, I understand you have your own feelings, but say, can you live on that amount of money each month? And get them to answer yes or no. Simple as that. You want yes or no questions. You're not interested in anything else. Alright? Unless, of course, you want an explanation, but record that explanation. And if their explanation makes no sense, say, I understand you gave an explanation, but you didn't answer my question. Or you didn't ask the questions that myself and my fellow citizens want to know. And finally, remind them, they are the public servants. They want your votes. They are coming to you for their votes. Remind them that if they get into that position, they are the public servants. There to do the will of the people. And remind them that recently this government has not done the will of the people. Now, a few questions that you want to ask yourself is the following. Why have you not encouraged the governing bodies of the gas, electric and power companies? And why have you not looked into why they are not bringing in a decent and reasonable energy gap when their profits have risen sky high? Why are you allowing, when you are taxing these big companies, why are you allowing these big companies to lay off working people to save their profit margins? Why are you not making legislation to stop this happen? Why are you allowing the banks and the lenders and the corporate businesses to dictate to you what happens? Ask them, are you linked with any big industries or corporations? Ask them if they actually have any concerns about the actual native citizens of this country. Ask them why they are allowing the country to be overpopulated. The real concerns. Ask them why the education system is nothing more than meeting national standards rather than education itself. Those are just a few questions that you might want to ask. Put it to them. All right? You might want to gather these questions. Take these questions around to your friends. Ask them, do you agree with these questions? We have to take a responsibility now to do this, to move forwards, to make these people in power, who really are not in power, responsible for their actions. Ask them why, are they not responsible for the debt that they got England in? And why is it that the people should pay their debts? Why is it that they are allowing and taxing us when the fuel industries are making enormous profits? Ask them why they have such a large pay rise each year, when clearly the rest of us are struggling with daily lives. Get to the bottom of it. And if they start saying, oh, giving an offhand explanation, say, no, that's not acceptable. Get them to admit their faults. Get them to admit that they can and should do better. So that's what I wanted to say this morning. And indeed, I will actually be doing this. I will actually be going through, and I will actually be setting up questions and going around to my neighbours and to my streets and asking them and getting these questions and saying, I am going to go and get these answers, and I'm going to publish these answers. Make it a concern, a viable, valid concern. Don't let them think that they are championing the cause. The people are championing the cause. So those are a few suggestions today. And this is what I really wanted to kind of do today. Get a few thoughts going. Have a great day, everyone.